Tonight, new research reveals the extent the pandemic is having on regional communities, and a major spike in coronavirus cases in Victoria leads to SA scrapping plans to reopen its border.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. The South Australian government has abandoned its plans to reopen its borders with Victoria next month because of a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases in the eastern state. Premier Stephen Marshall has apologised for the inconvenience but says he has no other choice to keep South Australians safe. The announcement has left Broken Hill's mayor worried. Plans remain in place for SA to welcome New South Wales residents next month, but fears of a second wave could jeopardise that.
July 20 was the planned date for Victorians to be allowed back into South Australia, but today the Premier pulled the pin.
Scrap that date. We are increasingly concerned about the outbreaks which are occurring in Victoria, and so we are not in a position to remove our border.
The move raises questions about AFL games between the states. It also means that anyone wanting to travel from Victoria to South Australia will have to self-isolate for 14 days on arrival. The announcement now raising doubts about whether New South Wales residents will still be let in by mid-July.
The Transition Committee will be meeting again on Friday to consider New South Wales and the ACT.
It was only a few days ago that the people of Broken Hill were being considered to be an earlier exemption. The city's mayor hoping that's still on the table.
We go to Adelaide for essential health care. We go to Adelaide for education. Our families live in Adelaide.
Broken Hill has not had a confirmed coronavirus case for over 3 months.
It's a very difficult time for everyone, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe, but the Broken Hill community hasn't had a positive case. Its connections are strong to South Australia.
There is a small reprieve for Silver City residents though. SA Police announcing that from tomorrow, people wishing to enter SA can apply for pre-approval before reaching the borders. The process will determine whether an applicant is an essential traveller, required to self-isolate, or can travel without restrictions. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Residents and businesses across regional Australia are raising concerns about how to pay for everyday expenses, particularly after JobKeeper stops. An Australian research centre says with the economic effects of COVID-19 continuing and the end of the financial year upon us, many businesses are relying on a quick return to normality to keep them afloat.
It's no surprise that the hospitality sector has been hit hard over the last few months. Restaurants and hotels forced to close their doors in an effort to stop the spread of COVID-19. And although South Australia has now moved into stage 3 of coronavirus restrictions, many businesses are still worried about what the future holds.
There's always that question mark because the on-cost to keep a business going is enormous. It's not just opening the doors. You know, I can't stress enough the extra costs that you've got.
Extra costs? The Consumer Policy Research Centre says 1 in 4 Australians are struggling to pay. Household essentials such as energy, groceries and insurance now adding to the existing rent and mortgage stress.
It is tough with your electricity and your water and all those ongoing costs that come into any business.
Whyala's Chamber of Commerce says the government's assistance, especially JobKeeper, is the reason businesses are able to stay afloat.
We're not out of the woods yet. We're all very nervous what's going to happen after JobKeeper, but hopefully the markets come back by then and things are nearly back to normal.
The government's economic response of $260 billion over the next 4 years will protect the economy by maintaining confidence, supporting investment and keeping people in jobs. But as for right now, there are some simple steps businesses can take.
Certainly suggest on your creditors, for example, if you're out of terms, communicate with the other business that you're owed the money to and just communicate, dribble the payments out.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Perry's Near Star smelter will have to reduce its annual lead in air measures by 20% under strict new regulations. The Environment Protection Authority has imposed a raft of guidelines, with the company due for a licence renewal.
A change is brewing at Port Perry's Near Star. Reduction in lead and air levels, just one of the new regulations implemented by the Environment Protection Authority.
The annual lead and air limit by 20%, but also by introducing much tighter control and oversight on shorter term peaks that occur from the site.
Public notification is also now a high priority moving forward.
Importantly, ensuring that there's much greater transparency and information around the operating performance by Nearstar directly to the community of Port Pirie.
Nearstar have released in a statement saying the new conditions will be challenging, but they'll work towards achieving them, and it will work closely with the Port Pirie Council to reduce blood lead levels in children.
Working with Nearstar, but we'll also be oversighting their performance and ensuring that they meet their obligations and requirements under the licence.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come in our bulletin tonight, a city unites to pay respect to a local legend and a desperate call out for more foster carers in the Spencer Gulf. Welcome back. A touching tribute to fishing pioneer Sam Siren has been held with Port Lincoln's tuna fleet launching flares into the sunset. The vessels faced towards the Port Lincoln Hotel last night, where a public memorial was being held.
A mesmerising glow lighting up Port Lincoln as sailors remember one of their own.
Obviously Sam's a pioneer and a legend in Australia's fishing industry, and so we just thought it would be appropriate that we send him off in a way that was fitting.
Vessels from the Australian Fishing Enterprise, the company Sam Siren founded, coming together in Boston Bay last night to launch flares in tribute for the larger-than-life character. Led by flagship Maria Luisa, skippered by Mick Evenden, a long-term employee and friend of Siren's for almost 3 decades.
He's been a great, supporter of Port Lincoln, so we just thought it'd be fitting to put everybody out there and show some support for him.
Visionary and industry leader Sam Siren passed away last week at the age of 84. A public memorial was held at the Port Lincoln Hotel last night in his honour.
It was a big day for the company, so we just did our bit to help.
The Croatian-born businessman moved to Port Lincoln from an early age and started a family. Over the years, he helped transform and build the city into what it is today, a pioneer in the fishing sector, opening up markets overseas, in Europe and the Americas.
Sam's a legend in Australia's fishing industry, and he will always be that way.
His light now gone out, but he's left a legacy behind. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Authorities are warning residents to be careful of a tax office scam targeting Australians. The ATO says cyber criminals may contact their victims by text, email or phone and demand their personal banking details while pretending to be from the organisation. The Office of Cyber Security has released this tax time infographic to avoid falling victim to the scam. Port Lincoln City Council has released its draft annual business plan outlining a handful of projects it hopes to stimulate the economy back to life. Under the plan, residents will be hit with a slight increase in rates, while the document is now open for public comment until the end of July.
Roads, walking trails, building upgrades and arts are the big winners as part of Port Lincoln's new draft business outline. Council say it's a cautious plan to hopefully deliver desperately needed jobs on a restrained budget.
There's a few interesting projects where we haven't got any of the really big ticket items that we've seen in the last several years.
More than $400,000 has been proposed to complete the Pankala Trail Wharf precinct, while $750,000 is on the cards for roadworks. Another injection of funding for stormwater upgrades has also been earmarked in the wake of February's floods, which saw $125,000 in damage.
Another $500,000 worth of stormwater works, which is one of the really important ongoing commitments.
Rob Donaldson has taken over the reins as acting council CEO after the departure of Stephen Rufus, a challenging position as council tries to navigate the city out of the pandemic and deal with the major budget blowouts over the past year. It was revealed in the March review that council was hemorrhaging $620,000 on the city's leisure centre redevelopment and $57,000 from cancelled theatre shows due to the pandemic.
Businesses and families are all going to be struggling from a financial point of view, and so we've we've taken the burden off that in some respects.
Ratepayers can expect a modest 1% rise, a reprieve from last year which saw residents slug 3.5%. Port Lincoln's art community is hearing the music with $280,000 proposed for the art area building.
We have like a pottery shed we're getting organised and a printing machine and all sorts of things, so it'll be wonderful to get it renovated a bit.
The draft plan is open for public consultation. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A young Whyalla family has shared their experience with caring for foster children, labelling it extremely rewarding and calling on others to take on the role. Organisation Centre Care says it's desperate for more carers, with a recent shortage meaning some children are missing out on stability.
A carer for just over a year now, this inspirational woman, a second mum to 3 young children in need.
Me and my husband always thought about it, but we never knew when we wanted to do it in life. We always thought, like, we'll have our own kids and then we'll get into like foster care and that pathway afterwards.
Zoe and her husband struggled to fall pregnant naturally. The newly married couple reached out to help others. Finding Centre Care kick-started their journey.
We've got 3 foster kids now in the year, so we have a 5-year-old, a 15-month-old and an 8-month-old, so there's only 8 months between the 2 boys. But yeah, we look after them full time and it's just like a normal household to us.
The blended family extremely happy with all the support they have received from friends, family and the organisation. They're encouraging other young families to consider taking up the rewarding and life-changing role.
If you have the room and you have it in your heart, do it. Like, it will be hard, but the hardness, like the positive outweighs the hardness by 1,000. Like, it's so worth it watching these children grow.
Centre Care in desperate need for local carers in order to keep vulnerable children in their hometown.
In Whyalla we have 33 households of foster carers, and we do struggle a lot to place emergency and respite children.
The centre calling for loving adults to come forward and sign up, offering training programs for first-time parents.
To be able to have more carers come on board and be able to provide a safe, secure home for these children would be amazing.
We offer trainings that give people a bit of insight into how trauma can impact a child's behaviours and how to also respond to those behaviours and manage those behaviours best in your home.
Those wanting to become a potential carer can contact Centre Care or inquire online and must undergo an assessment process. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. All the colour and action from a glitzy event in Broken Hill and a popular business in Port Pirie who struggled through the pandemic, finally able to open its doors once again. Welcome back. A Broken Hill businessman has brought colour and action to Broken Hill, dressing in drag and walking down the city's main street, all to raise money for Lifeline. Steve Radford donned the glitz and glamour on Saturday, even belting out some karaoke to the adoring crowd.
Dressed in his best, swapping the high vis for the shiny glitz.
I think it's fantastic. Like, I'm sexy and you know it.
Local businessman Steve Radford walking down Argent Street in drag on Saturday, raising awareness of men's mental health. After being nominated for the Men's Mental Health Challenge last month, in which participants eat sugar, raw eggs and drink alcohol, he proposed something different.
The challenge was to the community that if they raised an amount of money, $5,000, that I would match that $5,000 and then conquer a challenge that they put to me.
More than $50,000 was raised, with the challenge put to Steve that he dress in drag and perform a song of his choosing.
But a third unknown challenge was to shave my chest and hairs on my legs, which was a unbelievable feat this morning, but now I feel very relaxed.
Hundreds of locals flocked to the CBD to catch a glimpse and share a photo. At midday, Steve took the microphone on the balcony of the Broken Hill pub and, with a band behind him, did his rendition of Working Class Man.
Diesel in his veins, whoa, he's a working class man.
The money raised from the challenge going straight to Lifeline Broken Hill, country to coast.
Employing a social worker here in Broken Hill, we're in desperate need of additional supports with, everything that's been going on with COVID-19 and the increase in anxiety.
As for Steve, it may not be a one-time show.
And maybe next year we could have this as an annual event for CEOs or other community leaders in the community to help Lifeline.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A 55-year-old Queensland man has lost his licence for driving at a speed of 200 kilometres per hour in a 110 zone on the Barrier Highway at Oodlawirra on Saturday evening. The man was issued a $1,700 fine and had his licence suspended. However, he was caught speeding again a few hours later and issued another fine. Port Perry's Little Beans Play Cafe has relaunched with a new lease on life, their doors opening again from tomorrow. The popular small business has managed to stay afloat, preparing to finally welcome back customers after a forced break.
2020 may have kicked off to a rocky start, but this local business is ready to take the leap and welcome the Port Perry community back.
The parents come and sit down on a lounge and put their feet up and have a coffee and their kids run wild. That's basically the whole concept of it.
Little Beans Play Cafe is one of the last few venues to be granted permission to open, staff saying it's been a tough waiting game.
The play groups, the outdoor playgrounds have all been opened and I've remained closed. I was upset by that, but you've just got to go by the rules.
But thankfully there was work to do. They got busy doing renovations. The building has been transformed for its big debut.
A few jobs around, as you can see. We've done a new foam pier. I've watched her paint. I've watched her make the place look amazing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the little children's faces as they come in and see the changes. It'll be great.
A strict COVID plan has been put in place, including washing hands upon entry, and no sick children are allowed inside.
Sick child or family member, please don't enter the premises. We are trying to keep this place as clean as we possibly can and COVID-free.
Totally not excited about having to clean up after Amy, but hey, let's do it. It's been a long time, so yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Staff are eager to reunite with fellow neighbouring businesses who have also done it tough.
Get back to my little Florence Street community. We've got the mechanic across the road and my cousins next door at Cambrai, and we see each other every day.
Owners are off to a jumping start with birthday bookings scheduled for the rest of the week.
Whole week is already booked, so we've got a party on Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, Saturday and Sunday. So we've already got parties starting and then it's school holidays next week.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Hope's held out for junior football in Broken Hill, and we'll have the weather with Britt. Hello again. Junior football in Broken Hill could still be held this year despite a senior competition not going ahead. Local AFL officials say they are waiting for more coronavirus restrictions in New South Wales to ease before taking the field. The league is hoping the city's younger players can have a kick in the coming months, even if it's only for 6 to 8 weeks. Meanwhile, AFL Broken Hill is working on a round-robin competition for senior players to potentially be played in September. Now for a look at your weather, here's Britt.
Thanks Louise and good evening. We saw above average temperatures today with Woodner recording a high of 21 degrees. It reached 20 at Whyalla, 19 at Kadina and Cleve, 18 at Port Augusta, Port Lincoln and Broken Hill, 17 at Port Pirie and Coffin Bay and 14 at Clare. Taking a look now at today's skies with cloud crossing the south of South Australia with a weak trough and front. Skies generally clear about northern parts due to high pressure and dry winds, leading to cooler days and chilly nights. Moving on to tomorrow, winds north to northwesterly on the Gulf waters at around 15 to 20 knots, but reaching up to 25 knots near the Yorke Peninsula. Showers increasing at Port Lincoln tomorrow with strong winds about a top of 19 degrees. Cleve a shower or two, windy as well, 20 the high, a top of 20 for Woodner as well with showers and strong winds later in the day. Mostly sunny at Whyalla tomorrow, 23 degrees. Port Augusta sunny and 24, Kadina showers developing and 19. A high of 21 for Port Pirie with a possible late shower, otherwise mostly sunny. Clare late showers and strong winds, a top of 18. Strong winds at Broken Hill but a sunny day ahead, 22 the top there. Looking to the end of the week, showers about the west coast, lower air peninsula and the York Peninsula on Thursday. Sunny at Broken Hill, but fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. A little cooler with maximums mostly in the mid-teens. Friday, partly cloudy at Broken Hill with showers forecast for the remainder of the region. And finally to Saturday, where we can expect showers about the lower air peninsula, but it's looking to be fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. And that's the forecast. Back to you, Louise.
Lovely, thank you for that, Britt. And that wraps up your local news for this Tuesday evening. We'll have updates later on. We'll see you then. Good night.